Can you hear me now? Okay, great. I think I fixed it. Hi, everybody. All right. Gonna take care of that. Hello. It is Friday. I was not planning originally to stream today, but schedules have changed. I am here now. We are setting up some new things. I appreciate the patience. I haven't finished this new thing being set up yet, the new stream overlay. But the other stuff I have done, other channel art I have done, and because it was like 85% done, I'm like, I'm just going to put it all together today and see what it's like. So we have, okay, you guys should be able to hear me. There is a delay, but I fixed it. I had to reconnect my microphone apparently. Okay, so I'm thinking about putting a light there, so I'm testing out this one I normally use for filming back there, and we'll just kind of see, because I wanted to have something in like the background, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so we're testing that. I love to have something that's like, I don't know, like a paw maybe, or something cute. I don't know. I know streamers get little fancy lights, but I feel like that's kind of an old trend. Maybe that's like a dead meme. I don't know. But I'm so glad you all are here. Thank you all for dealing with me being a little bit late. I wanted some time to test some things out before I got started with the actual stream. And hopefully it will all be nice and smooth and finished up by, I wanted to have something in, like, dear, I have put in, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So we're testing that. I love to, I've put in a smaller version of myself and not the actual, no, I wanted the link to the pop-out chat YouTube. That's what I wanted. Okay. Jesus Lord Almighty. Okay. I hate that now I have to reconnect it every single time I live stream. That's just very, very silly, but that's how it currently is. Alrighty, got that fixed. Now it should not be echoing forever. It's a comedy of errors to start out the stream for today. Okay. Now your audio is off? No, it should be back. Memes do revolve. You are Eviception, yeah. Jesus. Didn't mean to do that. Hopefully no one's earbuds exploded as a result of that. I know I hate it when things echo. So we're testing out some new things. We also have some new stream alerts too, which I'm excited about. I finally have ones that are custom and not like random GIFs that I found on the internet that were free. So I have those. I'm excited. It's all coming together. It's all coming together, folks. I'm happy about it. So that is that on that. Thank you all so much for being here on this beautiful Friday. It is a mild day here. Cloudy, overcast, 57 degrees probably. Not that exciting, but hope you all are doing well. Thank you all so much. So if you haven't been here before, hi, my name's Evie Lupine, and every Friday here on my channel at 6 p.m. Pacific time, we hang out and I answer questions, and you guys ask questions. It's a fun time in the chat. We go back and forth. People share their ideas, and you guys can ask me about whatever you want. Usually people talk about BDSM, kink, relationship advice, dating apps, polyamory, general things along those lines, or sometimes pop culture news that intersects with those things. Like last week, somebody told me about a TV show called Polyfamily. And now I'm going to record a video about it because I watched the first episode. And if you're wondering, Evie, how can you watch one episode of a television show and have a whole video to make about it when they're barely on episode 3 of a whole season of reality TV? You're going to have to wait to find out, because I was cursed with that knowledge. And then soon all of you will also be cursed with the knowledge of this television program. So those are the kinds of things we chat about. I don't give medical or mental health advice because I'm not a doctor. So if you're like, how can I do BDSM while I have schizoaffective disorder? I'm going to be like, I don't know, talk to a doctor. If you're like, I went to do this rope bondage scene and then my elbow was in a lot of pain suddenly out of nowhere, what should I do? I'm going to be like, I don't know, talk to a doctor. Now, I do occasionally give some tips on dealing with like intense emotions like jealousy, guilt, and shame, because those things are really common within BDSM. That is within my risk profile, because those are just tips and techniques that I've learned over many years of long practice of being a person with very big emotions. Like if you guys know the old meme about the wife who cries at everything and the husband writes a list of all the things that the wife cries at, like the fact that ducks can be gay or whatever. That's me. So I know what it's like to have big feelings. And so I like helping people deal with those big feelings, because It's just always been part of my life. But besides that, you can read the full rules down below. Mostly what y'all want to be doing is being respectful in the chat. Number one, be respectful to me. Definitely important. Listen to the mods. Okay. Don't spam the chat. We do not have a 30K concurrent viewer live stream here. That's not the kind of stream vibe we're going for. So if you guys want to ask something, ask it early for sure. But if you ask it like 5 times in a row, back to back to back, that's going to annoy me because it makes it harder to find questions that I haven't answered yet. So just ask once. If I don't get to it, you can ask it again in like an hour, and then I'll usually give people like a 15-minute or so warning before the end of the stream in case I miss something earlier, because unfortunately, I really, like, this is like a request to the universe. If I could get some kind of plugin or some kind of feature in like Streamlabs or like YouTube that, like, not for, like, you know, definitely super chats work for that. If you guys want to make sure I answer a question right away and I don't miss it or lose it, the best way to do that is with a super chat. You can either use Streamlabs or you can go through YouTube. It's your choice. And if you donate over a certain dollar amount through Streamlabs, it will read out your question, which is really cute. But besides that, I would really love it if there was a way for it to just collate all of the questions I get. Like anything with a question mark in it. If I could just have maybe like a bot in my chat that just scrubbed through and grabbed every single thing that ended in a question mark and saved it for me, because YouTube will get rid of, like, it doesn't keep a full history of the entire chat log. Like, it cuts it off after a certain number of messages. So usually like the middle of the stream, I'll miss like a big chunk of people's questions. But if anyone knows of anything like that, or like could think of somebody to ask about doing that, that would be fantastic. That would make my job so much easier because I hate missing stuff. And you also have the option to get a YouTube membership for 99 cents if you would like to use the emotes that we have available. You can use them both in YouTube comments. Very exciting. And also here in the live stream. They're very cute. They're adorable. They're of me and my dog. And oh my God, that was the thing I forgot. I have the pet camera plugged in. I did not turn it back on. I knew I was going to forget something, and it was the dog camera. Had to reconnect that. Okay. Getting that turned back on now because the people demand viewing of the queen must be viewed. I don't know where she is currently. Oh, she's in front of her bed. Perfect. She knows when it's stream time and when it's like time for her to be like camera ready. Most of the time anyways. Okay. Resuming and enhancing. As we look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at that little floof. What is she doing? All right. So those are the things you need to know. Most importantly, that I haven't mentioned yet, 18 plus only. If you are not at least 18, please do not be here. That's for your safety, my safety, everyone's safety, because mixing minors and adults talking about kink, BDSM, dating, relationships, and sexuality is, in my opinion, as a non-professional, a bad idea. So I don't go there. Just as an FYI. Also, it would be really cool if I could get it to be like, have this like flash a different color when I get an alert. That would also be cool. I don't think there's any smart bulbs that are like that reliable though. They're all kind of a little garbage, but that would be fun to have. If I could just flash purple or something, like when I get a donation, I think that would be cool. Because then I could even have it be the same hex code as the color of the alert itself. So many ideas. So many, like, I have like periods of time where I focus on different things creatively, and like right now I'm thinking about stream stuff a lot, and I keep having ideas for things that would be cool, and those things like don't exist. Which is weird. She is definitely out for the moment. She is in full... Oh no, she heard me move. Oh, I know. Oh, we were just talking about you, sweetie. Hi. You're so cute. Hi. She's like, you summoned me, ma'am. Anyways, that's the preamble out of the way. I do know such a bot would be possible, but I don't know how to code one or integrate with Streamlabs and or with YouTube. Yeah, right now I only have my chat going through YouTube, but because I literally just have a capture of like the pop-out window I'm currently using. I could, if there was a service that could like scan for questions and like work with a bot, I could have it go through a different, I could like restream through a different service, and then that could capture the chat, and then the bot could go through that. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it could be a thing. Also has the benefit of screening questions. Exactly. I don't have anything automated, but I do know some streamers have their mods pull questions and post them in a private Discord server that the streamer has set up. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's a good point. Sometimes I feel like people watch the stream mostly for Bandit. I mean, I watch my live stream mostly for Bandit, so I think that's fair. Alrighty, let's get into some questions, shall we? Part of the time, my big emotions feel like a gigantic boulder trying to roll over Indiana Jones. That is very relatable. And sometimes, because, like, you know, how does that big boulder start happening? Well, it's because he's trying to switch that classic, like, trying to switch out, like, an object at an altar with, like, a different object. And then it gets messed up or something, right? And then, like, all the traps start going off, and then the boulder rolls after them. And that's what happens with big emotions. You try something, you take a risk, and then, oopsie, we're not prepared. Big emotions are happening. And, you know, we want the golden monkey statue, but the golden monkey statue has consequences. And the consequences are crying in your bathroom. And you gotta learn how to deal with crying in your bathroom. That's actually when that's a sign things are bad. There's like okay, does anyone relate to this? Does anyone have like an order of places that they cry in? And the place you're crying in indicates how bad the situation is. Because, like, crying on my couch is, like, the least bad. If I'm crying in my room, like, on my bed, that's, like, a medium bad scenario. If I'm crying on the floor of my bathroom or on the floor of my kitchen, it's really bad. Like, that's, like, I'm gonna go find my dog and hold her, and then I'm gonna cry on my kitchen floor. Gotta have different, like, mental spaces, you know, that I associate with crying. Maybe. Could be a possibility. Glad you could make it. Welcome. Yeah, she's the queen of dogs, it's true. I mean, no one would challenge her. She's too cute. She just gets the crown by default. All right. Pleasant surprise. Wasn't expecting it this week. Yes, I originally was not going to stream this week, and then my plans changed. And I was out of town earlier this week, but I'm not. I was gonna try to do this thing where I, like, left town to take care of family stuff, and then I came back for a little bit to do work stuff, then I would leave again to do more stuff, and then the second half of that ended up, like, being rescheduled, so I'm not doing that now, so here we're streaming. Hopefully no one planned anything big. Love the new splash page. Thank you. I have full credit for everything that I'm using in my stream, from the people who made the music to the art assets to everything else. That's going to be all in the very, very bottom of the description box if you want to know where it's from. All the artists I worked with have been amazing. They all make really great stuff, and I would definitely work with them again in case you care about that. I also I got, like, a picture of, like, a really, really, really cute piece of art for Bandit. And I wanted to pay somebody to, like, animate it and maybe have that be either, like, an alert or, like, a different screen, like maybe like a goodbye screen or like a BRB screen or something. But that's a whole other thing. So far, they're just of me, but there is one of Bandit technically. It's a secret. Maybe I'll do that one for, like, the Patreon streams. Maybe I'll have Bandit be the one for the Patreon streams. Precious girl was stretching. That's my favorite thing that she does, is when she stretches like that, where she's like, ugh, and then she puts her arms out, and then she does a little, like, she, like, sticks her tongue out. It's so cute. I also technically have the stream loop music still going right now, but I wasn't confident what volume I should put it at, so I just kind of have it very, very, very faintly in the background. I don't know if anyone can hear it or not. Yes, I do. If I'm crying in the bathroom, it's bad. Yeah. Crying on the most isolated place of the house equal bad. Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's why the bathroom is the best one. Because, like, the bathroom, that's, like, I mean, I guess maybe not all families, but, like, in most living scenarios, the bathroom, if the door is closed, that's sacred. That means do not bother me. Don't even, like, knock on the door. I had that for a while, where I lived with roommates that had, like, different standards of bathroom interactions, and they would always try to, like, talk to me when I was, like, in the bathroom. Like, I was in the shower, sometimes they would, like, open the door to ask me a question. I'm like, don't, stop it. No. Time out. Not happening. Or they'd, like, knock on the door, and, like, I don't want to be bothered at all if I'm in the bathroom. Don't knock. Unless the house is on fire. Do not interrupt my sacred shower time. Or my sacred crying on the floor time. Don't hear anything from music. Oh, I could make it like I could make it a little louder. It's hard to tell sometimes with like what's going to translate for different people's audio scenarios. Can you guys hear that? Is that like, I have it like half the volume of my speaking voice right now, roughly. No, you're all good. No worries. Talking about me not having audio. Oopsie doopsie. Got you to catch the stream. Egg. Fantastic name. Just egg. I love it. I think your egg, is your egg icon an upside down egg? Fascinating. We had thunderstorms this morning, then sunny and 80s. That sounds perfect. That's like, I grew up in Florida when I was a kid, and so there's something that like I don't get here living in this part of the country, which is one, piñatas at birthday parties, and two, thunderstorms, and especially like really, really big rain, afternoon thunderstorms in the summer, where it then becomes sunny and like really warm outside. Like that to me is like perfect, cozy summer weather. And we don't get that here. Sometimes it will thunder outside, but like very rarely, very rarely. Oh, thank you, Sean. I started to stream gifts. I must redeem my name from that person on Poly Family. Oh my gosh, Sean, you are so welcome. Don't worry, your namesake is not cursed because of one individual whose name is Sean. If anything, I need to be making amends because it's set in Portland. Oh, there's the alert. Look at that. Look at this little tiny me. I maybe need to make the text size bigger. I don't want to make it too big because I was worried if it would cut off people's like longer chat messages. But there you go. That's it. This is like my favorite like new asset I have is this. It's amazing. I love it. Obviously, I'm not full glam as I am in that photo, but you know, we try. Oh my gosh, 20 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Sean. Oh my gosh, welcome to all of the new members, which is virtually like everyone in the chat who didn't already have a membership. Thank you. If you guys would like to receive a gifted membership, you have to go to your YouTube settings and enable gifted memberships to be turned on if you would like the chance to receive one. I think for most people it is automated, but that is a thing that you can potentially receive, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, Son. Your name is now cleared of all misgivings because of the one individual named Sean in Poly Family. But I need to make amends on behalf of Portland because of course they made a TLC show about a polyamorous family from Portland because why wouldn't they? And now we have another. Look, this is our one that's for new memberships. We have a little bandita. Oh, she's moved. Speaking of banditas, I'm gonna move the camera a little closer. Hi, honey, don't move. Just stay right there. I'm completely ensconced in her little bed. It's so cute. Oh, just wanting to warn you that next Saturday I'm heading to Banff. So I probably will be largely absent on the next weekly stream. So here's a sorry super chat. Oh, no worries, Trixie. I know that you are going out of town. I don't know what Banff is. It sounds like it could be the name of a festival, but that also sounds like it could be the name of like a Welsh town. I don't know. Oh, it's in Alberta. Oh, right, because you're going to Canada. Well, that's exciting. Hopefully have a fun time. Don't get eaten by a bear. And be safe. And I'll see you around, hopefully. So happy I'm finally able to tune into one of your streams. I love your videos so much. Thank you so much, Coffin Moth. Welcome. If you've had any questions, feel free to ask now. Now is a great time to ask in the stream because I guess we've actually been going for almost, when did I start the stream? 25 minutes, apparently. But now is a great time. It's never a bad time, really. Maybe like the last second of the stream. If it's the last 20 seconds of me streaming, that's probably a bad time to ask. But any time before that is usually okay. All right, but thank you all so much for the super chats. Now you've gotten to see the new arrangement of alerts, and hopefully that will continue to be enjoyable. Watching the stream from my front desk at the local dungeon, it's super dead glad to have us. Well, glad you can make it, and have a fun time at the dungeon. Group ties. Oh, did I? What about group ties? I feel like I missed. Okay, I'm trying to find something. Wait. Oh, here we go. Maybe this got automated like by YouTube. What are your thoughts on forced intimacy and forcing two subs to cuddle? Any interesting ideas relating to that kink? Oh, okay. So like forced. Yeah. I don't know if you mean it like euphemistically. Usually with live streams, I just like say what the words are because I don't monetize these. So it's whatever. YouTube doesn't. Like, it's weird. YouTube doesn't really seem to care about live streams the way they do like recorded videos. So I don't know. But my thoughts on forced intimacy and like doing something like, forcing people to cuddle. There's definitely like popularity in pockets of that kind of thing, like, kind of forced by, right? Especially for male submissives is fairly common as a kink to happen. I don't know how commonly people actually do it versus being a pro-dom fantasy scenario that's kind of just for adult content and not something that people do as much in real life. But, I think it's something that is a perfectly valid form of kink. I think it's kind of a similar issue to when you're trying to do like a unicorn hunting arrangement with a partner where, for people who don't know about like what unicorn hunting is a thing in polyamory where you have an existing couple that, usually they're like a longer term relationship. They may be married, maybe they cohabitate, and they decide, I want to add a third into this dynamic to, allow my wife to explore her bisexuality, to let my husband fulfill his dream of fucking two women at the same time, that kind of thing. And that can be done in a way that's happy and healthy, and the third person, the unicorn, is okay with that arrangement because they understand the limitations of the relationship. But the issue with that is you are kind of, depending on how you do it, you are kind of treating a third person as a fulfillment machine for two other people, and the relationship, the two people, the dyad, is what's most important, and the third person is kind of like a supplementary add-on who's maybe not treated with the same level of respect as the other people. And similarly in kink, when you're doing group scenes, or especially when it's a dynamic where, there's an existing maybe DS couple or people who play as like dom and sub, if you want to find like another submissive or maybe another dom to do something with the sub and just come in temporarily to do something for one scene, I think that's probably like easier to do and more ethical than with like unicorn hunting, because unicorn hunting involves like dating and sex in a vanilla context, where typically it's a little bit more valued seems like the wrong word, but I can't think of anything else to label it as at the minute. Like it's seen as more important, to engage in those activities, especially in a group context, whereas I think kind of casual one-off play without any pretext of there being anything further than that is like more common in BDSM, and it's not treated as like an affront to somebody's autonomy. But it would be a similar kind of concern where you are getting into a dynamic where you're finding another person and maybe you want to have them like do something with your submissive, so that way your submissive can feel forced to do something, or so they can both feel forced. And it's really just about making sure, okay, is everyone getting their needs met? Is everyone here being respected equally? And are we making sure everyone's getting like the aftercare that they want? And just, just respect people, basically, is really the long and the short of it. And especially when you're doing something that involves, compelling somebody to do something they don't really want to do with their body or their mind, that's typically going to require, for most people, a higher level of aftercare and negotiation than a typical scene where they're doing something that they know that they're going to enjoy, and that's something they would like ask for freely. Whereas like a force thing, there's unknowns before you really do it. Like, it could end up being totally fine, and it could also end up being like a complete disaster, and it could end up like, creating a lot of like stress points for the relationship. It could end up bringing up like past traumas you like kind of forgot were there, that you didn't really think would be that connected until you were in the moment. And it's about preparing for those possibilities of like, okay, what if we do this go sideways? Like, what if you start having like a panic attack in the middle of the scene? What if we do like a regular aftercare, but then you're like still not feeling very well? Like talking through those what if scenarios and having a plan and an agreement in place to be able to address that. And then even if everything totally goes fine and, you know, there's no hard feelings, everything goes off without a hitch, everyone's feeling great afterwards, I would even still do like that next weekend or like sometime within like 2 weeks, I would be sure to have a conversation and talk about like, okay, let's just, you know, I we already talked about this, but let's like really debrief and go through it in detail. And even if it's not talking about like what went wrong and like avoiding problems for the future, you can still approach it as a learning opportunity for what do we want to do differently next time? Do we want to try this again at all? Are we just okay trying it once and then like not going with it further? Or is this like really fun and you want to like expand on it? And, you know, just getting that space to be able to really process how you feel about it. Because I think maybe this makes tops upset or like is confusing for tops, but like oftentimes immediately after a scene when you're still in the feelings of the moment, you can feel one way about a scene right then because you're dealing with the intensity that experience as it happening still kind of, whereas after you get to sit on it for a week or two and you get to settle into those feelings and really reflect on your whole experience when you have a little bit of a clear head, you might feel differently about it. I think it's good to have that opportunity to talk about it, because if you don't have that time to talk about it already and you're thinking to yourself, well, I told my dom that I really like this and like I loved it and I want to do it again, but like now that I've thought about it some more and I kind of remember how the whole scene went, like, you know, there was this part that kind of made me uncomfortable and then this I don't know if I'd want to experience again, and then you feel guilty because then you feel like, you know, my dom's going to think that I lied to them, or they're going to think that like maybe they don't want to play with me again because I don't like know myself well enough, and that fear can keep people from bringing things up, whereas if they had just had a time when they knew they were going to talk about it, they might feel more comfortable like having that organic, natural conversation of like, yeah, well, you know, I really enjoyed it in the moment afterwards, but now that I had some time to think about it, you know, here's kind of something that maybe like made me worried or like brought up some feelings later, and then you can address it in a like safe space, right? So that's sort of my 5 cents on that. I'm not thinking about a CNC kind of role play. Oh yeah. Like I mean, there's definitely like, again, it depends on how you define like what counts as CNC. I definitely have a very like expansive view of CNC, like, which for people who don't know, because this always comes up in the chat, CNC stands for consensual non-consent. So you're consenting to do something in which it's being acted out as though your consent is irrelevant, or you're consenting to not have your consent consulted in the moment, essentially. And that's usually thought about as like, people think, oh, that's like a code word for like ravishment play. I'm going to avoid the actual word because I don't want to upset people in the chat, but you know, people think it's just strictly like a forced sex scenario, but it can be a whole gamut of things. The example I usually give is like, you know, forcing somebody who doesn't like to eat cantaloupe, or, you know, sort of doing, I almost sort of picture like if you're two people cuddle or kiss, that kind of gives me like two, like, you know, middles or something who are like role playing being on like a school trip or like on the bus or something, and then like the other kids are like, you know, bullying them into like kissing another kid because I think it would be gross and weird, like for their entertainment. Like that's kind of the idea that I picture in my head of that. But it can really be anything that falls under that general umbrella of like being compelled to do something that you don't really want to be doing, but you do kind of want to be doing it because your partner telling you to do it. It's confusing. It's a whole loop-de-loop of possibilities. Ha! CNC is when my dom force feeds me lettuce. Why did that make me think of like turtle roleplay? They made me think of somebody role-playing being a turtle. Oh goodness. Hi honey, you okay? Oh, okay. A little coffin fit. We're okay. Where you going now, huh? I know. Look at your little feet. Where you going? Just staring at me, apparently. Dopamine can really make the aftershock feel different than a week later. Yeah, exactly. Which is like, that's why consent is so difficult and like murky, is it's, you know, your feelings about something can genuinely really change, and it doesn't mean that your feelings in the moment were wrong. They just like existed in a different chemical context in your brain. And you know, it's like when you're drunk, right? Like when you're drunk, you're like, you know, you're feeling on top of the world, and you're happy, and you're laughing, and you're having a great time, and you're, you know, dancing on the tables or whatever. And like in the moment, it wouldn't occur to you to like be embarrassed about like dancing on the table and like screaming karaoke from across the room. But then when you're sober, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Should not be dancing on tabletops and screaming karaoke from across the room. That's embarrassing. It's the same kind of thing. You're in an altered state, and the way that you perceive your behavior and what happens to you in that altered state is going to be different than when you're out of it. It doesn't mean that either one of those things is like more or less true. It just means that like brains do be tricky like that sometimes. Is turtle play a thing? Always assumed all pet play is mammals. Oh, no. All pet play is definitely not mammals. I know people that are like birds and dragons, and like you could be a mermaid probably. Like you can be anything you want. I don't think there's like a lot of... Oh, there's also... what am I thinking of? People will do like not just reptiles. I mean, yeah. So people will do all kinds of stuff, but certainly the most common ones are typically mammals by a mile. But you do see other things as well. I'm mostly joking about turtle play. Like there's not, I don't know anyone, I don't think you've ever heard of anybody who role plays as a turtle, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't do it. Somebody out there could be the very first turtle player, and I think it would be cute. Cause like, especially like a big, like a tortoise, like a big old wise tortoise where you just get to move around really slowly and then be fed fruit. And then occasionally you bite people, then hide under a big pile of leaves. Like, I feel like that's probably appealing to somebody. That's somebody's thing. I want to be a dragon. Listen, you can be a dragon. No, I can't. Listen, I give you permission. You can be a dragon. I believe in you. Donkey and dragon pet play. Yeah, like from Shrek. Oh my gosh, I saw an Instagram reel yesterday that was like, I don't know if like it was, I think this is maybe like a series, but it was like I was today 8 years old when I realized that like Donkey was really a human, which I don't think that's true. Okay, please, if someone is more familiar with the Shrek lore than I am, because I am by no means a Shrek lore keeper, but they were alleging that Donkey was really a human. Because he gets, at the very beginning of the first movie, there's this old lady who's trying to sell him off as a talking donkey. And I'm pretty sure he is just a donkey that talks. I don't think he was a human that got turned into a donkey as like a punishment. Am I right? Does that make the relationship between donkey and dragon worse? If he's a human trapped in a donkey body, or just only ever a donkey? I feel like it makes it worse if he's actually a human trapped in a donkey body. But, you know. It's not my place to judge their love. Donkey dragon roleplay is like, but actually though, when you stop and think about it, it's like kind of like strong, silent mommy dom energy, and then like obedient, obsessive, kind of funny, weird guy, submissive man energy, and like that's awesome. You know what? That's a great couples costume idea for a femdom and a silly little male sub who likes to be silly. I think that would be very cute. I've done Pokemon pet play. Oh yeah, I've done that before too. That's not as like a regular thing, but like as a one-off, like a scene thing. Yeah. I mean, my name's Eevee, so I mean the Pokemon roleplay writes itself. But yeah, Blastoise. Could do that. I mean, there's probably a squirting joke in there somewhere. I'll let somebody else find that one. And then, well, the internet seems to have opinions about Vaporeon, so great. Not kink shaming anybody, but just a little bit of concern. Just a mild level of concern. Donkey is one of the Bremer Town musicians, not a human. Oh, okay. Thank you for the lore update. He can't be with a human if you're trapped in a donkey body. That is, you know what? Fair. Maybe, but he didn't find another donkey to love, so interracial relationships are complicated. The dragon won't know. Yep. If I'm a human in a donkey body, anything goes at that point. It just gives you a new lease on life. You're like, fuck it. Human morals don't apply to me anymore. I'm a donkey now. Donkeys have no morals. They're the anarchists of the animal kingdom. Mulan came out in 98. Shrek came out in 01. Donkey was previously a dragon. Oh. You know what? I buy it. I do. That's thinking with your whole brain right there. If the dragon is sapient, then it doesn't matter if he was originally a human. If it isn't, then it also doesn't matter. That's true. It's just more, it's like, it makes more sense to me that for animals to be attracted to other animals than it does for like a human in an animal body be attracted to an animal. I think that's what the confusion is. But, you know, it doesn't stop human beings in real life, does it? Yeah, Lupinion. What would, if there was a Lupinion, what type would a Lupinion be? I feel like that has kind of like an Absol like type energy to it. Cause there's a dark type, but there's no light type, right? So what would Lupinion be? I don't know anything about Dragon Ball. I've seen like 3 episodes of it, and all of them have been against my will. So I don't know anything about anything with Dragon Balls. I think there are things called Dragon Balls in the show, and I think they have to collect them for some reason. And that's all I know. I don't even know if they ever actually collect all the Dragon Balls. There's also aliens at some point. That's all I've got. That's all of my Dragon Ball based knowledge. 5 dreams tonight about Donkey and the Dragon, listening where they came from. You know what? It's really good for that to not be a mystery that happens to you. If one day, after not seeing the Shrek movies for like 10 years, you have like a weird romantic dream about being Donkey and marrying the dragon from Shrek, like that would be, you might want to call a therapist. You'd be like, hey, can I do some dream analysis with you for a second? I think that it might be worth investigating a little bit, not gonna lie. Dark psychic type. Oh, that's a good combo. Or dark fairy. I would accept that as well. Is there a fighting type, Eevee? No, but there should be. That's the real. That's the deep cut. A fighting fairy type Eevee. That would be me. I wish. This is the problem. Okay, this is the problem with age gap relationships. Is even though I have partners that like range in age, like compared to me, like from like relatively close in age to like quite a bit older than me, and even the ones that are like relatively close in age to me like never watched or engaged with Pokemon. So I don't have anybody that I can text to be like, if I was a Pokemon, would I be a dark fairy type, a fighting fairy type, or a dark psychic type? Can't be a fighting psychic type because that would be too OP. Listen, I'm not trying to Mary Sue myself in the Pokemon universe, all right? They'd just be like, the what? They'd be like, I don't know about that. Oh. Apparently I had an alarm set on my watch for something. Don't know when I did that. Hopefully that wasn't anything important. You've done a bunch of age play videos. I'm doing my first age play / ABDL scene soon. I'm trying to come up with scenarios that involve fantasy, forced regression as a plot element. Any ideas? Ooh. Oh, especially for your first, do you have like other kink experience? Or is this going to be like your first age play / first scene in general? Or like first age play but like done other types of BDSM before? Lupinion fighting type is just that pitbull that kept throwing concrete blocks at cars. Listen, if it works, it works. Use your environment. So I would say, so my caution with this would be, and I have to disclaimer this because I wouldn't feel right if I didn't, I would definitely be very cautious about doing some kind of forced roleplay scenario or forced regression as part of a first time scene, really doing any kind of kink. I understand though, if that's like your motivation for doing that kind of kink is doing it in a forced context, you might be individually like more willing to take on that additional level of risk because it's worth it to you to do that kind of scene. So I just want to just to say it, I think it's probably a smarter and better for you idea to work up to doing forced things. But I think you can still do them in a relatively lower key kind of way if you want to ramp it up slowly and not go off the deep end, which I think is really the problem that a lot of people have when they try to do scenes like that, is they go like whole hog and then it just is too much, which, you know, be careful about that. So what I would probably do if I was coming up with like a forced regression scenario, and this is my brain, okay? So like, and I also don't play with ABDL, so I may be off the mark here, but I would think about maybe introducing it in kind of like a hypno, like brain
Dickman donated $10.
Sort of context.
Speaking of age gaps, I find myself rather taken a couple of lovely people, met at rope event, that are younger than myself. Not really dating, but still want to relate. Any advice?
Okay, cool. I will definitely get to that question next, Nathan. Thank you. That is definitely a good question, speaking of age gap stuff. So, getting back to the regression type designs, I would think about it in like a hypno brainwashing kind of way of like there's like a television program on, and then there's like a swirly thing, and then like it's like somehow you get like, is it weird if I'm like, well, Mr. Rogers is, I think, in the public domain, and I think you can just like find full episodes of Mr. Rogers and download them, and then it would be really easy to put that into OBS and then put a swirly loop on top of it. And then make it like some kind of like weird, like, like again, kind of hypno role play scenario of like you're being entranced, and like the watching the show again is like making you go back to that place of what it was like to be that age again. If you mean that kind of force, right, where it's sort of like you're being like tricked into acting younger than you really are because your like brain's being manipulated. And then there's sort of the other way of doing regression, which I think maybe now that I've talked about it a little bit, maybe is the way that you mean it, because it isn't the more common version of it. Is you are like being forced to take on like sort of a younger role, and it's not that you really feel like it's like doing like forced pony play or like forced pet play. You're being put into a role that a pet would be performing, but in this case, what a younger person would be performing, right? So, if you like bondage, I think bondage is a really good way to do that. And a lot of people love like locking diapers or like locking mitts. I think that would be relatively easy to do as like a DIY thing. Obviously, when you're buying like specialty equipment, that gets pretty expensive fairly fast. But I sort of I think of doing like kind of a bondage or like takedown and capture scenario where you're being like forced into like baby mitts or a diaper or like even like youthful clothes or like maybe a little like cute little like frilly socks, or just you're like no, you're struggling against it, you're fighting against it, but then you're just getting more and more like kind of like baby stuff put on you. Maybe they put like a pacifier in your mouth and then they like duct tape over the pacifier. Like is that the right kind of vibe? Am I in the general ballpark? I'm in a DS relationship, but it's not my dom's thing, so she gave me some permission to seek a professional. I haven't done a scene yet, but I've helped with bunches of other scenes as a DM, etc. Yes, with me. Okay. Yeah. I mean, especially if you're working with a professional, hopefully this is somebody who does ABDL scenes like fairly regularly, so they should definitely have a technique or a rhythm that they're used to doing in their scenes, but that's just kind of your idea with the video or something. My idea with the video or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what that sentence means. I don't know. Spontaneously suggesting Hypno Mr. Rogers. I mean, what do you want? Do you come for my ideas or not? This is what you're gonna get if you ask me. What's a novel scene idea for forced ABDL? I'll be like, well, I have a couple. I like Pokemon, but the show just felt too repetitive to hold my interest, as like I like a ton of actions and fighting or deep thought storylines that help you guys say, oh yeah, the Pokemon anime is it's fine, especially the early first couple of seasons, but it has just kind of kept going and going and going and going and going, and it is going to keep going and going and going and going and going forever. And the fact it doesn't ever have an ending does personally bother me, and I refuse to watch or get invested in TV shows that either will never end or will end after 13 seasons in an anticlimactic way that satisfies nobody. By forced, I meant your idea of the hypnosis video. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's the kind of thing that I would think about. You could also just do it with like audio only. I don't know, depending on what kind of content this pro dom makes, they might also do like hypnophiles or like ASMR type stuff. It could even be something where she's doing it live from like another room, where like, maybe she has you have like earbuds in, and then she's like speaking into like a microphone like outside of the studio space to start with, and then she like induces you into a trance, or like does some kind of like ASMR roleplay type stuff that like puts you into that headspace in a gentle way, by again, it's like corrupting your brain, but you know, you're being sort of like coached. Really what's happening is you're being like coached into accepting the headspace that you want to be in, but it's role play wise done in the framework of like, you know, I'm slowly taking over your brain. The things we do to be able to engage in the kinks we like, people. Benjamin Button role play. That would be funny. Oh yeah, I guess Ash's story did end technically. Yeah. I think they're gonna bring it back at some point. Update on my journey. As Switch immediately following this. Oh, perfect. Yes. Tell me all about it. While you're putting it in the chat, Sean, I'm gonna answer Nathan's question, which was, let me refresh my memory and go back to that. I do have it set up now to where the chat should stay on the stream for at least a minute. So hopefully, if I'm not in the middle of answering something else, I will just be able to read the whole thing. So it was essentially about, if I'm recalling correctly, Nathan wanted to know, okay, I met some people at events that I'm really taken by, and they're younger than me, and I want to be able to relate to them. Any advice? And essentially, what I think is the best policy is, and this is like, I'm generally speaking like always the younger person in these kinds of situations. So what has helped me feel like I can relate to older people is, one, we have like compatible personalities to begin with. And so that just is kind of a baseline. So you're probably already there if you're like been able to communicate fairly well with them. And then it's about like finding like common ground on things that we like both enjoy. Like, for example, like a lot of the people I'm thinking of, like they, for example, also like anime, and a lot of them like older anime than I do, but there are ones that we can relate over that like we've both seen or we both like, or they're into ones that I'm curious about and I like talk to them about like, oh yeah, I've always really wanted to watch, you know, insert, you know, late 80s anime here, but I haven't gone around to it yet because it's harder to find on like streaming platforms. What did you think about it? What did you like about it? Do you recommend that I watch it? And then we have like a conversation about that. So I think it's about finding like common ground in like media or hobbies or interests, and like showing genuine curiosity in a non-paternalistic way, I think is really important. I think it like, not that I think you would do this, but I think sometimes older people, when they're uncomfortable around younger people, they're kind of be like, oh, like, pat, like, isn't that so cute? They're into that. Oh, you're like just starting your career. Isn't that like so sweet? And like, it comes across like sort of like an older family member who's like talking to like a nephew or a niece and not like relating as friends when you exhibit that kind of behavior. So I would avoid being paternalistic and like, you know, being like, oh, I remember when I was that age. Like, if anything, I would probably minimize stories or ideas or concepts that get close to like, oh yeah, you know, when I was your age. It's probably, if a sentence starts with that, I would probably not go there. One thing I have noticed is that they will have pop culture references you will not get, and that is just okay. Oh, yeah. And I think, you know, even as somebody who's like, you know, fairly in tune with pop culture because I work on social media for a job, so even just by osmosis, I'm seeing a lot of it, even if I'm not intentionally engaging with it. Like, I make jokes about it. Like, how I make a joke that I don't understand what the fuck Skibbity Toilet is. Like, that's, now I joke about that, and it's funny because I'm like, I don't know what Skibbity Toilet is. I don't think I want to know. And then, like, people who do know about it, they think that's funny because I'm joking about my lack of knowledge, and then other people that are like, yeah, I don't know what it is either like also relate to that. So I also like to joke about things that I don't understand, but you know, if it goes completely over your head and so you don't know how to respond, and it's sort of, there's like, you know, if I say this one thing, this is the expected response from the other person that I'm, you know, thinking I'm going to get because of how relatable this thing is to people that I'm used to socializing with, that can be a little bit awkward. But then at the same time, you know, if I've like said or done something, you know, with a partner, I'm not confident they're going to get it either because of their age or because they're like chronically offline, I'll like ask them like, oh, did you hear about this thing? And they're going to be like, the what? And then I'm going to be like, oh man. And then I show them, I talk to them about it. And then that becomes another opportunity to like grow our connection because they're listening to me ramble about something and then they're happy with the rambling. And then I'm happy that I got to ramble. And then everyone feels fulfilled and happy. I think, again, it's a showing that genuine curiosity about stuff or being willing to admit when you don't know something versus like playing along with it. Ha! Your meme isn't my meme, but your meme is still okay. Exactly. Just like that. Oh, that's so great, Hellhound. Hellhound has come out as genderqueer. Congratulations. We love they, them pronouns. I'm so glad I could help with that. Non-binary people are fantastic and amazing, and as always, very valid. Also, the gap is quite large, so I'm a bit, awkward about enjoying hanging out with them. Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's normal. I think if you weren't a little bit worried about it, then you get into, like, Sean from Poly Family dating an 18-year-old that he supervises at work territory, and maybe don't go there. Maybe don't do that. So I think that that's valid. That's fair. But finding places where you can level the playing field, where it doesn't feel like, like sort of minimizing any power or authority you would have over them while socializing, obviously, like, not going to places where you're gonna, like, be in charge of something or be a leader of something. There's a difference between, like, going on coffee and buying them a coffee and, being like, I'm teaching here, I'm leading this group, or, things like that. I think it just elevates the level of power dynamic to a level that can be a little uncomfortable. All right, let's get to what Sean was talking about. Feel free to follow up, Nathan, if there is more. Hopefully that was helpful. I think if you're a generally curious person, generational gaps aren't an issue. Yeah, I genuinely, like, when I stop and think about it, I'm like, really, what does make it work? And genuinely, I think that's it. I think, like, the main thing that I see that, like, separates, like, creates a big divide between older and younger people is when older people become condescending about what younger people are into, and they're like, I don't get all the dumb shit that the people are into these days. The kids and their Minecraft and their VTubers. What's a VTuber? Like, if you're doing that, then, like, there's no hope. But if you can have an open mind and actually, like, treat people like, I think that's it. Just treat people like human beings. Like, even when I socialize with, like, younger people who were, like 5 years younger than me or so, or, like, I don't really socialize with people who are, like, 10 years younger than me, but if that did happen, like, I wouldn't think about them in a way that's like, oh my God, I can't believe, like, how much younger you are than me. Like, it just doesn't, like, cross my mind, because I'm just so used to hanging out around people that are in a pretty wide range of ages. But the curiosity, I think, makes a big difference. Just not being superior or an asshole. Yeah. But good luck. Hope that works out for you. All right, let's get to what Sean was talking about here. We got some updates about the Switch journey. Can I? Where did the? There we go. Chat window. Ketra applesauce, meow meow. I'm glad that you like the channel art. Thank you. All right, that was a multi-message one here, so give me a second as I look up the full chat history we got going on here. So far, things are going great. Right now, practicing skills monthly at parties. Everyone in my community is so supportive and happy for me. Learned hands-on, as well as crops, canes, and paddles, as well as floggers. Found out I am best with finger floggers, but due to issues, either my grip on standard floggers. Oh, finger floggers due to issues on gripping regular. Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, there's definitely tons of... I know a lot of people also like... ball floggers, because you can hold them like this, or you can do there's like a couple different grips that you can use to be able to, like, you can do like a claw grip type situation on there, that some people find a little bit easier on their fingers. It's sort of in between a regular flogger and a finger flogger, but good luck. Definitely, I know there's a reason why finger floggers are popular for people, because not everyone can use a standard flogger, and especially depending on how they're weighted, it can make a big difference on your wrist as well. So congratulations, glad to hear that's going well. I know a lot of communities are very supportive these days of Switches, and good for you for being able to break through and have people accept your Switch self, because I know that can be difficult to be out in public and be like, hey, I'm doing this new thing, and have people actually respect it as a thing. Well, it's not entirely about looking down on people, but sometimes you can't help but recall how, for older folks, that we didn't have cell phone cameras as teenagers. I would say there's a difference between being like, back in my day, we didn't have blah, 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 standard old people complaining, versus, making a joke that's based on the fact that, back when I was your age and we didn't have, I didn't grow up with that. We didn't have, cameras everywhere all the time. But I think that that's like a level of joking that like is harder to do at first when you're first meeting someone. I think if you're first getting into a relationship with somebody, like if they're bringing up like the age gap a lot, it gets uncomfortable. Whereas when you've been established for a while, and it's kind of funny that it's like, oh yeah, I guess when you were a teenager, you didn't have to worry about Facebook, didn't you? you just had to worry about what people in school thought of you, and that was it. You didn't have a whole. Now these days it's even worse, right? Because people have so much more social media from such a younger age. That's a fun balance when it comes to tying up people. I totally respect your independence and your energy. Now let's tie you up, lay you down, and call you pretty. Yeah. I mean, that's like part of the contrast that makes it entertaining. Yes, Bandita is very sleepy right now. She's having a great time. I mean, she's normally sleepy this time of day, so it's not shocking. All right, next question. I think I saw one earlier in the chat, but I'm gonna go all the way back out here. I often joke that I'm very sorry for inventing the internet, and if we would have known about all of this, we might not have made it a thing. That's fair. I think that's a good way of looking at it, yeah. I'd say how big the gap is, but no, again, it's, oh wow, really kind of thing. Yeah, fair. I mean, I think if you're trying to put exact numbers on it, if it's like, 15 versus 20 or 25, like, does it matter? Like, 2 years is one thing, 10 years is something else, but then after that point, it just, it's an age gap. What do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? I don't think humanity was ready for the internet. I mean, yeah, we couldn't have possibly have been ready for it. Any advice on feeling like you still belong if you're an ace kinkster, have different motivations, or on rejecting certain advances? Ooh, okay, good questions on both fronts for sure, because as a fellow ace kinkster, I definitely have gone through both of those before. So to start with the second one first, maybe part of it is that I am a social media figure. I don't generally play with people who know me from the internet because that's just like is a boundary I don't feel comfortable crossing. Like that's just the information asymmetry makes me uncomfortable. Like if somebody watches 500 of my videos and live streams and thinks they know me and then they want to play with me, like I don't know if that's ever an expectation I can ever live up to, and I just don't want to go there. But if somebody doesn't know me from the internet, based on what people have told me, I have a very clear vision of what I want. I have very clear boundaries about what I will and won't do, and I'm always very upfront. I'm okay saying no to play opportunities if it means that we're not really compatible and I have a chance to do something I'd rather do, even if it's just like, okay, I'm going to a big convention. I have like 4 people who want to play with me. Okay, 2 of them are like primarily sexually motivated, so we're not really going to work together. So instead, I'm going to say no to those 2 people, play with 2 people that I am compatible with, and have those extra hours that I could be at the dungeon, like watching people or socializing with friends, or like maybe going out to dinner with somebody, or just like napping and recovering in my hotel room. So I don't feel too bad about missing out on opportunities, but I'm very, very clear up front. Like if I'm going to a big event, I will post a like personals ad where I talk about like, here's the kinds of scenes that I'm looking for. I describe like the kind of energy that I have when I play. And I'm very direct about saying like, I don't play sexually, especially with people that I don't know. My motivation for kink like isn't sexual. And if your motivation for kink is sexual, like please don't contact me. And the reason why I'm so upfront about that is because I've, before, like, 5-6 years ago, when they started to do more pickup play, I would have people that would say, oh yeah, normally I play really sexually, but like, if it's just like a one-time scene, like I can kind of like rein it in and we don't have to play with that energy. Well, lo and behold, in my experience at least, if somebody is primarily motivated by sex in their BDSM play, even if they say that they can kind of put that on the shelf while they play with you, that energy is still going to leak out. And mostly what they mean is like, I'm not going to like put my genitals near you. And that's good, right? They should not be putting their genitals near you without your consent. So that's fine. But the energy of how they play still feels different than playing with somebody that is playing with you platonically, or at least not with any overt sexual energy being layered in there. So I'm very upfront, I'm very direct, and then if we do get to the point where I'm talking to somebody and they're like, we're maybe hashing out the details of what's possible, I'll be very direct about like, okay, I'm okay with, like we're doing bondage, so like, is crotch rope okay? And I'll like, again, just be very clear, very direct. I'm okay being blunt with people. I don't try to sugarcoat things. I don't label anything with like, I'm sorry, I can't do that with you, or I wish I could, but don't say anything like that. Just say, okay, this is what I'm into. This is what I'm looking for. Does that work for you? Okay, what are you into? What are your motivations? Okay, that does work for me. Then we proceed from there. But that's sort of like for scenes if somebody's, trying to like, introduce sexuality as a possibility when you don't want to be there. There's a big difference between that and somebody like coming on to you at an event in like a flirtatious way, or somebody like interrupting a scene to like try and make something sexual happen, or like interrupt aftercare to make something sexual happen. If anybody is like interrupting a scene, going past boundaries that you set, make you uncomfortable at a party, please go talk to a DM. Like if you don't have any other option, like say the safe word for the space that you're in, because I'm presuming this is happening in public, and then just like tell them, like say the safe word and then say like, you are not allowed to approach me that way. Like don't do that. Like make it very clear that this is not acceptable. I think, not that it's on you as a person who's receiving that to like try and help them fix it, but I think if you have that bravery in that moment, if you feel okay and comfortable doing that, if you can very clearly state, hey, this is like not acceptable behavior, that will get the attention of the people around you to get help sooner, and it will also mean it so hopefully the venue will take it more seriously as something that's wrong, because if you kind of like proactively minimize it and be like, oh, I know you didn't mean anything by it, or like, no, it's okay. Like I get the temptation to do that, absolutely, but it doesn't actually help solve the problem, which is somebody like doing bad behavior. So just like stay firm that it's inappropriate. You don't have to be mean about it or anything, but just, be firm, be a broken record. And hopefully it'll help have the issue resolve itself, either by the person changing their behavior or by them no longer being in those spaces. But I'm sorry, it's really hard if somebody is like, propositioning you or making unwanted advances. It unfortunately, it should not be on you as a person to have to put up walls that extensively or be that firm or be that direct. They should just be able to hear a no, but unfortunately not everyone actually can hear a no all the time. So, you gotta make it so for sure that they heard the no, and if they are still acting inappropriately after that, well, then, that's not great. That's what I have to say about that. Hello, Lexi. Glad you could make it. You missed all the new stream stuff. We got new graphics and new music. Well, you can probably hear the music. I don't know. I often joke that I'm older than Google, except it's not a joke. Same thing for Windows. That's a good one too. But as far as the second part of that question was like acceptance as like an ace person, I think. Let me go back to that real quick. Feel like you belong if you're an ace kinkster / have different motivations. So, gosh, it really depends. So, like, I'm on the ace spectrum. I feel comfortable being in kink spaces. Not in all of them. I choose the ones that I feel comfortable in. I have been in kink spaces that don't make me feel comfortable, either because they have a lot of alcohol at them, they're way too sexual, it's primarily an orgy, it's primarily a sex thing, and then I don't go to those spaces or I don't go back to them if I discover they're not for me. So I find the spaces that I do feel comfortable in, and I invest in going to those, and then I'm around people that are generally like affirming of my identity and are not like weirded out or disgusted by the fact that I'm on the ace spectrum, because like there are so many different types of people in the kink community, whether it be because of their sexual orientation or their gender or anything like that, that it's, just being weird about me being ace would like probably not even occur to any of those people, because it's like, well, we're all one big grab bag of different labels, so great, welcome to the party. Like it's not that it's dismissed, it's just like it's unremarkable, which I feel like is, at least for me, is like my comfortable place. I don't want to be put on a pedestal like, oh my gosh, you're so brave for being ace and like going to a kink event. Wow, look at you. Like, I don't want to be thanked for being a brave ace going to the big scary sex party. I just want to like be in the background and be allowed to like do my thing that I'm comfortable with. And I have had issues with people like kind of and I think, you know, I've heard kind of similar stuff from people that I know with disabilities having a weirdly like parallel experience where people will like self-censor around what they believe is like possible for you to do or what you would be comfortable with while actually talking to you about what your boundaries are. Like some people will both be very violating and not respecting the boundaries at all, and then other people will be like, well, but I just thought because you're ace that you wouldn't want to blah 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 blah. And it's like, well, but you didn't ask me, and you could just, and this is crazy, you could just ask me about this. You could just be like, hey, do you want to do this? Is it something that you can do? We could have that conversation. But people don't make it a conversation. That's frustrating. In which case, like I just kind of already mentioned within that example, you know, I'd say to people like, hey, you know, if you want to hang out with me, you want to do something, you can always ask, right? I know it's like scary to ask because there could be a rejection in there, but I'd rather you like, you know, before you presume where my boundaries are, I'd rather just tell you. And then hopefully if they're a good person, they're going to be like, oh yeah, sure, like no problem, I can do that in the future. And then that, you know, shouldn't be an issue. As far as feeling like you belong and like feeling like you have like maybe different motivations from other people, the kink community is such a varied place. And, you know, I don't know any two people that have identical motivations for why they're in kink. Whether it's like some people have like religious trauma, some people have like fetish needs they're fulfilling, some people got introduced to it by a partner and they just thought it was like a fun community space to be in. You know, some people have, you know, they have, you know, deep primal urges, or they've been like driven by sadism since they were like 10 years old. Other people are like, you know, I just wanted to be able to play dress up again, and like, you know, I've always been kind of this, you know, little kid in a big kid's body, and I want to get to play with that again. So the motivations that are out there for kink are so multifaceted that like I don't ever feel like I'm like the only one who's like me, but also, you know, I am kind of the only one like me because no one has identical motivations to me for why I'm in kink at the same time. So I just try to take comfort in the fact that like, you know, you might kind of superficially look around at a dungeon and go, oh my god, everyone's doing this for sex reasons because they're all naked, or they're all doing this, they're all doing that. And that's like, it's very rarely like that. Most people in kink have like, you know, some people have like fairly simplistic reasons behind it, but it's almost always more than one thing. And it's, you know what, some people are definitely into it for like the sexual relationship component, but that's usually not the only reason. Oh, my sweet puppy. Oh, little sad face, little ASPCA commercial face. Why are we so sad, girl? Oh, little baby, what's wrong? You grumpy? So sweet. I love my baby. Okay, I need water, but then I need to get up. And then if I get up to get water, then my dog's gonna move. And she's literally perfect right now. I don't want to disturb her perfection. What a dilemma. Whatever will I do? Oh, darn it. What's YouTube doing? YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Ugh. I didn't approve of that. How dare they? But as a fellow ace person, I will say that you are valid. If for some reason anyone has ever made you feel uncomfortable in a space or made you feel like you aren't welcome, that's mean, and they're not right, and that's silly. I know. This is so hard for me to get work done sometimes because she's just so cute. I have a friend in Finland who's big into shibari as a form of therapy. Oh my goodness. I have maybe opinions about that. I've definitely okay. Do people know about this? Do people know about this? There are people who will go and they will take one shibari suspension intensive, and they will technically kind of learn how to do rope bondage suspension. And wouldn't you know it, they have a private yoga practice where they do private massage and yoga. And then, well, gee, look at that. A month later, what are they doing? They're offering private shibari healing experiences. And then they heal people and align their chakras, or, you know, they do Reiki or whatever on them when they're suspended, and they, you know, heal their inner child, or help them somatically release their trauma, or just pick a grab bag of things you've seen. What's the nice phrase I can use for this? Alternative healing practitioners. Just pick whatever you think an alternative healing practitioner would say, aka a scam artist. That's what I'm really thinking. Pick whatever they would say about that kind of situation, right? It's doing shadow work. It's, you know, releasing your your stuck tissues that you're holding on from like trauma or whatever. And so these people are like doing shibari and doing suspension. They've like barely know what they're doing. It's a vanilla person using a kink practice from a different culture to help other non-kinky people align their chakras or whatever. And it's a thing. It's a thing that people do. And I don't think they should be doing it. That's crazy. No, don't. Like, come on. It's already bad enough when people in the community are like, shibari is a completely non-sexual, pure art that will not be sullied by your lewd desires, and it's a high form of art. And it's like, the guy who invented modern shibari liked tying up his pregnant wife because he thought it was hot. I don't there's the reason why we have modern shibari that's transcontinental and in multiple countries is because there was information exchange between people that were doing American bondage in America and people doing Japanese bondage in Japan, and then they liked each other's porn. Like, what do you want? Like, that's, the so-called like pink films and stuff, right? So it wasn't it got kind of elevated and kind of I don't know if this is a term. Is orientalized a word? Shibari got kind of like orientalized as this like mystical, pure, amazing foreign Japanese art that's like higher and more pure than disgusting sexual Western bondage. And it's like, no, sorry, I hate to break it to you guys, but shibari's kind of always been a sex thing. I mean, you can do it for non-sexual reasons now, but ignoring that like pole dance like was originally like something that like sex workers did, and like people who like worked at like strip clubs and stuff did as a way to make money as part of their work. Like, it's it's like erasing the experience of connection to sexuality writ large is really annoying, because it doesn't mean that you have to do it that way, but oh, the new profile pic. Thank you. It was high time for a new one. I've had that one for probably like 7 years at this point. And my hair is much longer now and looks very different. So it was time for an update. I read this in the Carmel Sutra. Exactly. Goodness. Orientalized is a word, yes. Like, whatever you say, I guess, but you're wearing a dog collar, eating out of a bowl, you're going to have a hard time convincing me this is not kink. Oh, yeah. The people that are like, the trans women who are like, I am a puppy girl, but like not a kink way. I'm like, if you're spelling out the word puppy girl as one word, and yeah, like you're eating out of a dog bowl and you have a collar and you got a tag on your collar and whose name is on it. Oh, your girlfriend's name is on your collar. And it's not. What is your girlfriend? Is your girlfriend pulls you on a leash and calls you a bad dog? But it's for personal growth reasons, which kink can't possibly be about. That's my like big ick with that sentiment of like, oh no, it's not a kink thing. I mean, like, I sleep in a cage and have a dog bowl, and then my girlfriend gives me rules, but like it's not a kink thing. Like, do people really do think that if you're doing a kink and it's non-sexual, it's not a kink? It's like, no. Most people are doing at least some of their kinks for sexual reasons and non-sexual reasons, at least some of the time. For most people, it is a mix of motivations, and you have people that are outliers on the side, pretty big outliers, who do it entirely for one or the other. But for a lot of people, it's always a mix of both. It's never just like, I'm doing this thing and then I'm jerking off at the same time. Like, most people are like, I like DS relationships because I have fantasies about this and it's hot to me that my partner dominates me. And also, I like the fact that it gives me a good reason to like have a sleep schedule. Like, it's like it could be both. It's a yes and situation, people. It's a yes and. Okay, I thought the egg was upside down. My bad. I don't know why. It just looks like it's bigger on the top than on the bottom. Oh no, it definitely got far. Sorry, we had some follow-up things for some super chats, so I got a little distracted kind of early in the chat. But I'm gonna scroll. Actually, I can actually just see it. I can just click on your name, and then I'll see your earlier chats, and then I'll get to your question. How about we do that, huh? Because that's a technology that we have access to. Oh, I don't see another question from this account. So, at least not on this stream. So it's from a different account. I'm not sure which one. It can be non-sexual. It can be. Caramel Sutra would be roughly as Moo Latte. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. People are scared of the word kink, I think. Yeah, it's a big part of it. People just get so mad if you're like, hey, do you know the thing that you're doing? You didn't, like, all it takes is one person starting a Discord chat where they're like, I invented this thing called being a puppy girl, and it's non-sexual and it's healing, and it helps me like feel connected with my gender or whatever. And then everyone's like, yeah, that's valid. And then everyone doesn't have any connection to the kink part of that at all, and just they get to rewrite history entirely, and they pretend like they didn't like see a bunch of pet play content for years before somehow coincidentally getting all the same ideas that they're using in their own play. The world is funny like that. The world is, oh my god, a little stretch. The cutest. Adorable. Exactly. More than one thing can be true at once. And also at the same time, I'm not even saying that like I doubt that they're kink is funny, right? Because like people can be doing kink things and like not label them as a kink. Like if a vanilla couple does a spanking on their birthdays, does that count as a kink thing? Like, well, kind of, maybe. They don't have to label it that way. So the issue is not with like they're not labeling something that should be labeled as a kink. It's using all the kink terminology and the language and using the same kind of gear and the same kind of poses and like aesthetically and verbally in every meaningful way copying kink, and then saying it's not a kink with the implication that kink would be less or worse and or somehow significantly different. When in reality, it's the same thing, but you're just doing it with or without a certain label being placed on top of it. And that's really the only difference. And that's, you know, just don't like you could just say, oh yeah, I'm a puppy girl, but like I guess I don't really, like, I'm not part of the kink community. And I think that's, you know, part of it too, right? Is you don't have to be in the community to be doing something that's a kink. And I think, you know, people just maybe people expect it to feel different if it's a kink. Is that what it is? Like, if they think if they're doing a kink, like mentally it's gonna like feel totally different and they're gonna get transported into like 50 Shades of Grey, like some of the things gonna happen, when in reality you're doing kink or whatever. And like, you know, like if I'm hanging out with one of my partners and I'm talking with them and then I end the sentence with like a little bark noise or something, and I'm like, and like, you know, that's my punctuation mark on the sentence. Like, that doesn't feel like I'm like doing puppy play as a kink, but like it is still doing puppy play as a kink because it's part of my dynamic with them and it's part of our relationship, and that's life. If it walks like a dog, barks like a dog, looks like a dog, you call it a dog. It's very true. I'm also sure that tons of people tie their partner up in a bed that don't even think of it as a kink versus just a sex thing. That's also, yeah. Where's the line between like rough sex and kink is a whole other conversation. Both ways, people, I think, misjudge that one. People see kink and think of hairy-chested men in leather, which is a part of it, sure, but there's lots of us. I would almost say that there's a portion of people, and maybe this is also, I don't know, I'm not confident in this assessment sociologically, but I wonder if maybe part of it is if you don't say it's a kink, it feels less masculine, because in mainstream society, we generally associate kink with heterosexuality and especially with men. So if you're doing something like pet play, which people, especially with puppy play, people would usually associate with like what? Gay men, right? So maybe you don't want to be associated with kink because it feels like that's something that like, well, maybe that's evidence that I'm like really a man or something. I don't know. I feel like I might also be wanting to have kind of separation from maybe the like gendered assumptions that go with kink and how people like sort of interpret an interesting kink. Yeah, I saw a tweet earlier today that really made me think we gotta let people flag their freak flags and teach them that it's okay. Like, what the fuck was it? It was some like 23-year-old that was like sex is so weird. Like, what do you mean I'm getting all spitty and messy and my hair is everywhere? Like, I have to lose so many aura points every single time I do that, I swear to God. Or like something like that. They were concerned about losing aura points and seeming cringy and weird because of having like the sex hair. I'm not that old by comparison, but I feel like I remember being a teenager and hearing at 14 that it was like that was what we said about like Victoria's Secret models, right? Like Victoria's Secret models had like the perfect like bedroom hair, right? Like having a slightly kind of like mussy, wavy, like not perfectly straight hair was seen as like a sign of attractiveness because there's kind of like the subtle implication that they've been like roughed up a little bit in a bed. But that was like desirable. You didn't like lose aura points because your hair got a little messy. And like we just gotta really, what is happening with the children? The 23-year-old children. Speaking of treating people that are younger than you with respect, 23-year-old babies, self-described 23-year-old teenagers, need to be okay being, and I get why they're not, but they should really learn how to be more okay being a little cringy because, my God, you know how much, like, what kinds of mental illness have to be caused? Like, I'm being so serious right now. Like, the level of mental illness that is directly caused by the degree of paranoia that exists around being performatively approvable on social media. Like, you know, the kinds of people that you're dating, how many dates you're going on, when you're having sex, how you look having sex, the activities you do during sex, what you look like after you have sex. Like, and that's not even half the iceberg. That's like 1/3 of it at most. And just that is only the tip of it, right? Where it's like we have to be so self-analyzing, so self-aware at any moment. And you know what? Like, really, like 100%, okay? Book reference time, all right? I know. I got a book. You can't read books. You're a dog. I mean, I'm a dog and I can read books, but that's different. Yeah, do you approve of this book, Bandita? No. This is Sexual Intelligence by Dr. Marty Klein. It's a nice little book. It's not too thick of a read. The whole freaking point of this book, if you're like, Evie, how do I get sex therapy? I don't want to spend $500 a session. I don't have insurance. That's crazy. Well, if you don't want to pay, not that $500 would be expensive, but you know what I mean. It's spendy to get therapy, all right? But if you want to have the secrets behind sex therapy in a quick little way, this is a good book to start with. And I'll tell you the 2 secrets that are within this book that will release you from your prison, the sexual prison that you exist in. I mean, if you want to stay in the sex prison, stay in the sex prison. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to yuck your yum, all right? But if you want to free yourself from the sex prison, 2 things. 1, don't worry about what's normal. Nobody is normal, and therefore, that is what is normal. Everyone is different. Everyone has different motivations. Everyone has, like, the range of what is normal is very wide. Like, if you have a penis and, spoiler alert if you don't know about penises, sometimes fluid comes out of penises. That's not urine. And so you can ejaculate anywhere from like once a week to like 3 times a day. And like, that's roughly in the zone of normal, if I'm remembering correctly. You can't, like, there's, like, what is considered average for humanity is massive. So stop worrying about what's normal, because you're probably fine. And if you're not fine, you probably know that you're not fine, all right? If your kink is, like, or your fetish is, like, interrupting your daily life, and you can't get work done, and it's destroying your relationships and ruining your finances, then, like, you should probably get help for that. But outside of that, you're probably fine. Number 2 is stop thinking so damn much about what your body looks like during sex. Being so for real. Stop worrying about your body, its performance, how it looks, how it smells, what you're doing with it. Stop worrying about it so much, because it's like social anxiety. Okay, with social anxiety, you get anxious about having social interactions with people. And then because you're worried about the social interactions that you're going to be having when you're in the moment in those interactions, your humanity skills break down. You stutter. You don't make eye contact. You don't know how to continue conversations. Your brain goes blank. And you have worse social interactions because you're anxious about how you're doing in those interactions and if people like you or not and what people think about you and how they're going. And you're thinking about it so much and you're so worried about the outcome and the results of that interaction that it makes things worse. The same thing happens with sex. If you're thinking about your body too much, what you're doing, how you sound, how you taste, whatever, okay? Unless your partner tells you that they have a problem, or they're really passive-aggressive about it, maybe they don't tell you directly, but they kind of imply it, you're probably fine. So if you think about it too much, and you're worried about looking hot and sexy all the damn time, or not having bedhead, or not losing, if you're worried about losing aura points, because you have mussed-up hair from sex, you're going to have a bad time. And you're going to have a bad time having sex. You're not going to want to do it again, because then you had a bad time. Stop shooting yourself in the foot. Stop worrying about it. The best sex in the world. I swear this is, you can take this to the bank, all right? I promise you. The best sexual interactions you can have as a human being come from not thinking about it so damn much. That's it. That's all. Those are the two things. And they're not easy. If you are somebody who is very anxious about sexual performance or how your body looks, or you've been shamed for it in the past, or you're worried about being normal, or you have religious guilt or something, those are all things that take work to overcome, but they can be overcome. They can be worked through. And if you can do that, it will be better. So anyways, kids need to, and by kids, I mean 23-year-old teenagers, need to stop worrying so damn much about what's happening during sex and how they look and how people on the internet might think about them as a result of them having had sex. Because it just makes things worse. And they're not going to have fun. And then that's sad. Honestly, I do not know how I don't have more anxiety around sex. I have tons of social anxiety, but when sex is happening, it's just, oh, okay, biology is happening and naked woman, nice. I mean, if it works, it works. If your brain is like, yeah, this is fine, go with it. You don't question it. Just be like, yep, you're here. All I'm saying, if you never had air coming out of 3 places at once because you're laughing too hard on the floor because your dorking caused air to go where it shouldn't, I mean, come on. Exactly. Oh my god, exactly, y'all. Oh my god, the stories I could tell. The stories I could tell about funny situations. But you gotta laugh at it. That's the worst, okay? If you're like, what's the worst sex partner you could have that's not somebody who just like violates your consent? The worst sex partner you can have that's not a person who's violating your boundaries is the kind of person who can't like take a joke during sex. Like if you can laugh a little bit during sex, if you can like take a little break and then get back into it, if you can smile at each other because you're having a good time, like that's when it's good. But if somebody like is completely deadpan, stone-faced, like that wasn't funny, and they're like, but I made a joke about how, you know, whatever thing, and there's like, no, sex is serious business. Like, you killed it, dude. You killed it. As far as the dysphoria question, I'm going to leave that up to the trans folks in the chat because I am cis and I don't have experience overcoming dysphoria, but perhaps there are other people that would be suitable resources in the chat who might feel like contributing because I don't know. Worst not violating sexual partner, cardboard cutout, that's really pretty. Yeah, I guess that's definitely it too. I would also add on to that, other worst partner you can have is somebody who like isn't really that good in bed, but like is very convinced they're very good and then like doesn't want to take feedback as a result. Like people are like, no, I know what I'm doing. And it's like, you don't want to know what I think about what you're doing? Okay, so I'm just here to receive what you want to be doing for your own sake, and then I'm here to just like passively accept it happening to me. Cool. Okay, great. I feel very valuable and loved in this moment. Also, the fun spills over in kink. If you haven't laughed when you or your dom whiffs a flocker throw, I feel bad for you. Oh, true. Yeah, that as well. Yeah. If you had that, like, you know, some things are, you know, okay, it hurts. You cry a little bit. You move on. You laugh a little bit. You know, if your dom whips himself in the face by accident with, like, the knotted end of a piece of rope, and you don't giggle a little bit, you're missing out. You're missing out. See, that's why I love my man has the power to roleplay a stone face, and I know he's actually cracking up inside, even if he's visibly not. Oh yeah, that's acceptable. That's if you can be like the straight man in a comedy duo where you're like pretending to just not be entertained at all, but you know inside they really are being entertained by it. That's good. I'm usually that person in my relationships where I intentionally pretend I don't get the joke or that I don't find something funny to make it funnier, because then it's funny that I don't get it. Because it's, if somebody, like, for example, sexual innuendo, big thing with me. Sometimes I literally won't understand it at first, and then it'll click for me later, and then I'll get it. But because that's part of who I am as a person, is those kind of things just go like whoop over my head. As a bit, I will be like, what do you mean? What did you say about cupcakes? What? I don't get it. No, I really don't get it. Like, what's happening? Why is that funny? Like, I'll literally make them explain to me why it's funny, and then that's funny to me, because then it's funny that they have to explain it, and then it's funny. And then I enjoy myself, and that's entertaining. Because then it's funny that I don't get it, because then it means that I'm ignorant, and then it's just, I don't have to explain why it's funny, it just is. Just believe me. I am really good at doing the neutral face. I am really good at, like, is this a disassociation thing? It might be. Now that I'm saying this might be a disassociation thing. I'm really good at, like, turning off my ability to laugh. Like, I could go from, like, being in the middle of a comedy club with, like, a comic I find to be really funny, and then if I just, like, put my mind to it for a couple seconds, I can completely detach from having any kind of emotional response of laughter. If you ever played that, like, party game with friends where, like, people have to take turns going up and then, like, trying to make the other people in the group laugh, and then if you laugh, you lose? I always win those. Not because I make other people laugh, but because I don't laugh. It's just, like, I don't know why God gave me that gift. It's just one of the ones I was given. I don't think let me be like the gifts I gave up in exchange for that. But it could have been a worse draw, I suppose. And then, what was the other thing? Oh, I can also turn off my ability to feel ticklish, depending on the part of the body. There are some parts that are harder, but I can just, like, consciously will myself to, like, not feel ticklish, which bothers some people, and they're very determined to make it work, and then they get really annoyed that they can't get a reaction out of me. Like, I can feel a sensation of tickling, but then I, like, won't have, like, a physical or, like, facial response to it. Just in case anybody here has watched my video from, like, 5 years ago I made about tickle torture and somehow thought I had a tickle torture fetish as a result of that, because some people got very confused. Now I have burst your bubble. Oh my goodness, we have 20 minutes left. Time flies, y'all. Thank you so much for being with me. Do people think you lack a sense of humor? Oh no, the people who are close to me think that I'm funny. Part of my humor is pretending that I don't get jokes. And then having people explain the jokes to me, depending on what it is in the person. But I don't know. I have to ask. My partners think I'm funny. I know when I'm funny, because then my friends will, like, one of them in particular will, like, laugh at me, and then if it's really funny, they'll, like, laugh at me and then, like, pick me up and squeeze me really hard and then send me back down. And then I'll know that it was really funny. She is very relaxed, yes. She is, like, very zen. If I could make, like, a 1 hour loop of Bandit sleeping and her just being, like, her calmest, most beautiful self while sleeping, I think that would be a perfect gift for the world. No, tickling can really be torture. It's serious. Like, you gotta, like, people joke about it, but you do, if you're gonna be tickling somebody, like, you gotta talk about it first. You can't just spring that on somebody, because people, especially if it's a child, because it's a childhood thing for some people, you can't be surprising that just on people randomly. Oh, where'd the chat go? Oh dear, I gotta reload in the chat. Unrelated, but I've been wanting to hear your opinion on gendered pricing of kink events. Care to comment on that? I think that that's ridiculous and should not be done in the modern age. That's my opinion on that. I don't see any good reason for it. I think that if you're having an event with gendered pricing, that sort of inherently creates a dynamic where people that are paying more, which is almost always men, feel like they are entitled to a product at the event, which would typically be women. And that's a weird dynamic to have for a kink event. Because why are you treating the women like objects? That seems like a bad thing to do implicitly. So I don't appreciate that personally. I can get why, the argument I think that I hear from people about that, like why it can be okay is, oh, well, we need to do that because we are, having issues having enough women come to our events. And so to try to encourage more women to come, we're having it so that they don't have to pay for tickets. And then to offset that, we're making the men pay more. And then, I get that. But then the end result of that is pretty much always going to be, well, now women don't want to go because then the men look at them like they're on a meat rack. And then women, and then men don't want to go because then the women are not acting like they're on a meat rack when they should be. And then no one has a fun time. So it's just, there's no good reason for it, I think. Maybe they're I think the most equitable form of pricing is probably not something that involves gender as a factor whatsoever. It's just so maybe somebody who's smarter than me can come up with a better argument for why it's okay, but I can't. If it's not too personal, what it's like telling people what you do for work, it totally depends on the context. If it's like somebody I'm going on a date with, I usually try to avoid saying what I do for work for like a couple of dates and then talk about it, at least any kind of level of detail, because I don't want somebody to go on a first date with me and then search me up on the internet and then like watch all my videos and then come back to the second date and be like, I watched all your videos. Horrifying. So usually I try to either avoid talking about work initially, or if I say what I do, I'm like, oh yeah, I make like, educational content, and then, I just try to like talk about other stuff, honestly. Usually people think that it's cool. I've had like one person have a really bad reaction to it once and was really weird about it, but other than that, everyone's been like, oh, that's really interesting, that's cool. And then they want to know how I made it a job, and they want to know like what my day-to-day life is like the conversation is pretty predictable at that point. Friends and friends of friends, I don't really care either way. I'll just say, oh, like, I do YouTube, I'm a streamer, something like that. With family and stuff, I usually say something really vague. Or if I'm talking to like a nail tech, like if a nail tech, or not that I really get my nails done these days, but something like that, right? If I'm at the hairdressers or I'm at a nail tech, and somebody asks me, what do you do for work? I'm like, oh, I do video editing. I'm a freelance video editor. I used to say that I did like social media consulting, and then I quickly realized that if I was talking to people that own their own business, that they would actually want to talk to me about to hire me to do social media work for them, and then that didn't work. So then I had to do something else. Oh, thank you, Sean. Thanks to your videos, I learned after my wife died 12 years ago. Oh, I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. I am a sex-positive ace, still he, him. Also into the stream gifts. Well, you're so welcome, Sean. I'm glad that I could help you. And we love sex-positive asexuality. It's fantastic. I would say that I very much fall into that category in the sense of, sex negative versus sex positive. I'm like sex neutral, generally speaking, in a sort of that, which level you mean it at. Honestly, I've been feeling really exhausted by the thought of kink lately, but this stream is really helping me to see it as fun again. Oh, you're so welcome, Lexi. I'm glad. It's okay to have variable feelings about kink. I know that happens sometimes. And Sean has also gifted 10 more memberships. Welcome to all of our new members on the stream. Welcome, welcome. You've never twerked naked with your partner with stuff running everywhere. You're really sexting. Honestly, wouldn't know. But it is a possibility. People do all kinds of things on the phone. Yeah. Blowjobs are a weird concept. Don't think about it too much. Just it is strange. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. So just don't. Definitely agree on that one. All right, we have 15 minutes left. Speak now or forever hold your peace. If I missed an earlier question, please feel free to ask it again. I will try my best to get to it as soon as possible. And thank you so much. Oh, there's like a 2 out of 2, but I don't see the first part at all. I don't know where the first part is. In vanilla life, I've had to deal with abusive assholes. They're all baffling losers. I want control, but stealing it now. But being a good dominant leader and earning respect is half my interest. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I have questions on bloodplay. I don't want to cut my partner, so what else could we do? Lots of things. This is definitely something you should research. You should definitely, if you're interested in bloodplay, please take classes, in-person classes. It's really important to practice because you are introducing the possibility of some kind of pathogen or being introduced or some kind of infection happening, and that can be really serious. So, please be cautious. Please learn how to do this correctly. Don't use a random kitchen knife to do this shit, okay? But if you don't want to cut them and you like to play with blood, typically the play that people go to next that is fairly common and easy to learn about would be needleplay. But again, there's online classes for that. There's actually I'll go ahead and I'll, hopefully YouTube won't block this. Let me see if I can, there's a really great organization. Oh my God, wait, that's totally different. Apparently Reign of Blood is a Flash page for free vampire games. And it's also about Warhammer 40k, which is not what I was looking for. I was looking for something entirely different. Oh, maybe it's a different name. They actually have a Patreon. I'm gonna link, and they have tons of resources on there if you want to learn all the different kinds of blood play. But needleplay is definitely on there as well, in particular. And all kinds of other things as well, not just that. But they're great. I've worked with them before for some pain-based classes. I don't do blood education, but they're fantastic. They're great people, really, really good educators, and I've taken some of their classes myself, and I would recommend them if that's a skill you want to learn about, because I know not everywhere locally will have options for in-person classes, but if you can, I would definitely do that at a convention or somewhere else. But if you can't do that and you're willing to take that higher level of risk not getting to have direct in-person feedback, online classes and resources are another good option too. Random reminder, if it's not too personal, what's your plan for your ancient dusty fireplay 101 video? Oh my God. It's funny you bring that up. I've actually been thinking about that lately. I'm like, I have a bunch of fucking old ass BDSM 101 videos that definitely need a redo. My wax play one, fire play. See, it's hard because a lot of that content, if I put it on YouTube again now and I refilmed it and revisited it, I don't know if it might get flagged as being adult content and might get age restricted. I would really like to revisit especially the older BDSM 101 videos, or knife play, things like that. I should really actually do a knife play redo video. I think that would be a good one. How do I want to do that? Thinking about it. I think what I would like to do, and I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, okay, but there may be a possibility that I will have a top who is willing to be on camera with me to do some demo-y things, and then I will put demo-y things on Patreon. Usually what I do for 101 videos is I will try to have a BDSM 101 video that's YouTube friendly, that doesn't get into demonstrations or techniques, where I just talk about verbally the concept, why people do it, how to do it in a vague way, equipment, that kind of thing, what scene ideas, how to incorporate with other kinks, kind of my general spiel I do for 101 videos. And then I'll have something for Patreon where I there's a demo or an example scene, or more stuff that maybe I wouldn't get into with just just on YouTube. So maybe, not to get anybody's hopes up, potentially this summer, I may be recording some things. I'd like to revisit fire play, wax play, knife play, floggers, basic bondage, kind of doing a whole series of that would be really fun. But I have not gotten that yet. I would really like to get an acrylic knife as well. I don't have one yet. I haven't found one that's exactly the right color, but they are very pretty. But you're right, it is dusty. It doesn't need to be replaced. There's some other ones that are older too that I'd want to replace. Not expecting to have a top on camera again. Well, I figure if I do it behind a paywall on Patreon, it's an ongoing conversation, but I'm I could do it in a way where I feel comfortable with it. I just, having partners on camera is difficult because then if something happens, even if something doesn't really happen, but they just like decide not to be on camera anymore, or they like move or something, or they like get a new job and they're like, I don't have my face on YouTube. Like people are like, oh my God, did you break up? Did you do this? And like, it's like, no, everything's fine. Stop asking me questions. I don't want to have to go through that. Yeah. So that might happen. I don't know. Some of your content's already age restricted by YouTube. Oh, I know. I am very aware. Not a lot of it. There's a couple of videos, but they're, very, very few are fully age restricted. If you can't find it easily, it's probably one that is. If you found it easily, if it got recommended to you or played automatically as a next video, it wasn't age restricted. How to get over my fear of being with someone with a penis. I went through trauma when I was 5, and I know I'm queer, but I can't get over the genitalia without flashbacks. I mean, that definitely seems outside of the scope of something that I feel equipped to help with. I think if you're dealing with genital-based trauma, that seems like that would be something that would be good to address in a therapeutic setting. And there's definitely a lot of people, like sex therapy, is kink aware, kink friendly, gender affirming sex therapy is definitely out there. Either group therapy could be cheaper, doing therapy with somebody who's maybe like a graduate student who's in the process of getting their full license. There's definitely options to access cheaper therapy if a regular therapist isn't available for you. Yeah, doing a scene on video is also like weird. It's just like I tell people like, how do I watch like authentic scenes? Where can I go to watch authentic scenes, for BDSM? And I'm like, well, like gotta be honest, like BDSM is so mental that if you're watching an authentic scene, like most of the ones you see at a dungeon, like it probably would visually look kind of boring because the people who are on video are not going to be like talking to the camera for your sake. They're not going to be communicating verbally or non-verbally, for an audience most of the time. Especially not a remote audience from a camera. They're going to be doing stuff for them, and it's going to be a very internal experience. As opposed to, I think, what people imagine, watching a BDSM scene is going to be the screaming and blah, blah, and it's like, sometimes it is, but it's not for an audience. And anytime you're putting a camera in a room during a scene and you're aware there's a camera there, it just changes the dynamic inherently. It's always going to make it a little bit different. Just that awareness of the fact that you're being recorded and other people are going to see you. I love wax play, just done self play so far. Candles seem to burn through middle too quick for me though. Yeah, I mean, like if you're doing candle wax in any volume, it's like getting a little mini crock pot's a good investment. Because candles can get worn down pretty quickly, especially for the price of what they are. Like it gets expensive. Yeah, I think that's true too. Showing a scene from negotiation to aftercare does have value. Yeah. If it's a demonstration of like, today we'll be doing a scene to show you what it's like, and then it's you do the the negotiation, you show what that looks like, you show the scene, the in-person communication, and then you wrap up and you do the aftercare, and then maybe like a debrief afterwards. I think for sure that could be really valuable. Absolutely. Evie's clickbait art. BDSM is mental. That's how you get all the British people to watch me. That'll be what works. There we go. Reel in all the Brits. Hi, Benita. You get some water? Hi, girl. Hi. I know. We know we're almost done with this stream, huh? We have awoken from our slumber. Come here. Hi. Come here. Come here. Come here. I can't pick you up, but you gotta get closer. Hi. Hi, girl. Hi. Oh, it's okay. Come here. Oh, we're full of energy. I know. Hi. You're not on the camera anymore. I know. Look at you. Look at you, my fuzzy baby. Hi. Oh, look at you, your big face. Look at you. You're so fuzzy. What are we whining about, huh? What are we whining about, ma'am? What's going on? Oh, so cute. I think including the aftercare is important too. A lot of content creators forget that part. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would not just be like, and scene, Hi. You're gonna lick me? Okay. That's it? You're done? All right. Gotta make sure I didn't Didn't leave anything on my fingies, huh? My little baby. So sweet. Bone folders. They're not knives, but are dull and knife-like. They are marble and other stone ones that would probably feel better than acrylic, too, more knife-like. Bone folders. I've never heard of that before. What the fuck is a bone folder? Oh, interesting. What are they normally used for? Is this for like bookmaking? Oh, it excels at scoring, creasing, burnishing, and other crafting tasks. Oh, useful for turning corners on cloth and leather, scoring paper, folding, smoothing out surfaces, and burnishing surfaces. Oh. Fascinating. It's a dull-edged hand tool used to fold and crease material. Oh. Cool, I like that. That's a good DIY option I would not have thought of. Yeah, she is very happy. It folds. That's what I thought. I thought it folded bones. I thought I was like, how do you fold a bone? I was confused. That makes more sense, though. It's a leather working tool. Good idea. I like that. It's a folder full of bones. Yeah, I was also thinking of the Romney's binders full of women thing. Anytime there's ever a folder full of anything, I think of that. That's like an eternal meme. That's like my favorite political meme, honestly, that was like the last time we had a normal society was Mitt Romney's binders full of women. I don't even know if people even remember that. I don't know if that just lives on in the culture. I think that just like outweighs, has like a disproportionate impact on my psyche for what it is. I love how a lot of leather tools are just dull stick and sharp stick. I mean, there's a reason why leather clothing was a fairly early thing. Oh, they were typically made out of bone originally. Oh. The more you know. All right, one more question. Who will be my last question of the evening? Will it be you? Will it be somebody else? Will it be no one? Will it be Bandit? Nobody knows. You don't ever have questions, Bandita. You just sit there and you just smile and you sleep. No questions. No questions in her little head, except for when is it time for dinner? When are we gonna get to go outside? I am a millennial, it's true. I'm fine being a millennial. It's whatever, I'd rather be a millennial than a Zoomer who's paranoid about having sex because I'd lose aura points. I'd rather be a millennial with a relaxed way of approaching relationships and sexuality than being concerned, saying, hey chat to my 10 followers on Twitter and then saying, am I going to lose aura points if I get bedhead from sex? I'm fine with that, actually. Bandita's going to be trucking for a long time. She's very healthy. She's a good girl. We went to the vet like last week and they said, wow, she looks amazing. Can't believe she's 13. And I said, neither can I. So she's all good. She has to get a teeth cleaning, so I'm a little nervous about that. But other than that, she's right as rain. Oh, I don't remember who Bob Dolph is, so do I get to be a Zillennial now? If Bandit could talk to you directly, what do you think that she would say? What would you say, Bandita, if you could talk to me directly? She would say, please give me cottage cheese. And she would also say, I love you, please take me outside. Please let me go talk to the cat. Please let me go say hello to the cat. I only want to say hello to the cat. That's what she would say. And she would say, please let me keep licking you. I would like to keep lick, please. I would like to keep lick. He's fun. She is my little ball of sunshine. Kids pretending to be streamers as imaginative play. That's funny, though. It's less funny when a 23-year-old's like, hey, chat, to their like 10 followers. I see 10-year-olds start combos with "Hey chat" is fascinating. That is like, okay, when 10-year-olds do it, it's cute. When it's them, because they're just emulating, you know? They're just emulating what they hear, which is developmentally appropriate. He doesn't have the issue cats have with their gums dissolve with the roots of their teeth sometimes. Such an expensive vet visit. Oh dear. She has dental problems, but that is definitely not one of them. We're just talking about my dog. He didn't miss a whole lot. Alrighty. If anyone has any last questions, they may ask them now. But otherwise, we will be done with the stream. So that way Bandita can have her dinner. Which is what she would like. Because it is 8 p.m. Which means it is time for dinner. Approximately. Maybe. I have only the vaguest notion of who Bob Dole is. God, you guys asked about the old ass videos because I've been it's weird redoing stuff on YouTube. I'm like, well, I already have that video, so is it weird if I make it again? But there's a series of things that I want to redo. What do you rate hyena roleplay? 10 out of 10. Seems great. People should do it more. I like it. Good opportunity for strap-on use. I don't know. Seems like a good opportunity to break out the strap. It seems fun. I like the idea that you could also do Lion King roleplay in there. I think that could be fun. That could be silly. More people should do it. Definitely a lot of laughter in there, for sure. What is Bandita having for dinner? Her dog food. She gets kibble. Me, when I'm 25, talking to myself at home. Yeah, fair. Can you bless the world with some hopeful words using your YouTube powers? I mean, it can't hurt and the world is on fire. Here, I'll do you one better. I'll have Bandita bless. I'll have Bandita do the blessing. Bandita, we are summoning your beautifulness and your cuteness and the fact that you have drool on your little chin because you just drank some water. We are summoning your beautifulness to beseech the world on behalf of all humans and doggos and all of the creatures of the planet to wish everyone a very beautiful weekend and good vibes and good things for happening to them. Yes, good things should happen to all of the people because they are good and they deserve nice things. Like how Doggo deserved a nice dinner. In Bandita we pray. Amen. You're so cute. I love you so much. You're so warm. You're so fuzzy. Why are you so fuzzy? He was Bandini at him. Yeah. You could have been the Pope. Why aren't you the Pope? Oh, it's because you're not a human and you're also not a man? Well. Sometimes these things can't be helped. Yeah. Sometimes she gets rice if she has an upset tummy. Anyways, I could ramble about my dog for forever. Thank you all so much for being here on this beautiful Friday. I will be seeing you all again very soon. I will be streaming on Monday, regular stream schedule for the time being. Not doing anything exciting for Memorial Day, so I will most likely just be here and doing regular stream stuff. If you all have the long weekend, if you are in America, hopefully you will join me or enjoy yourself otherwise. If you're having any trips coming up, anything else going on, stay safe, have fun, drink some water, and I will talk to you all